Just a little bit warm up there, guys. How's everybody doing today? Let me know if you could hear me. Just going to wait for the chat to populate some before we start our lesson. Robert, how are you? Okay. We're going to talk about a few different things first because you're just the only one in the chat at the moment. Okay, good. All right, anyway, I mailed your book out Saturday. Okay, so you should be getting it any time now. I just wanted to talk a little bit about 2020. Happy New Year. Hey, Jim, how you doing? Okay. January is going to be a little funny, but February, I'm trying to put two or three different shows together. Marcio. Hola. All right, so what I'm trying to do, this is going to be definite, but there's not a definite date. I have, besides myself, there's going to be 3 additional drummers here, and we're going to have a round table, and we're going to talk about lessons with Joe Morello. And we're going to talk about their publications and their DVDs and CDs. Okay, and then, me saying hello to everybody. All right, so that's going to happen sometime in February. I don't know the exact date because it's very difficult to get 4 drummers in one room at the same time. Believe me, because one has a gig, the one can't make it. One lives in Virginia, the other one lives in New York. So I'm trying to do this as best as I can and convenient to everyone else. Anyway, I've been throwing the workbook at you, and it's the Chafee book all written out for you. And you don't have the Chafee book right now, Robert. But anyway, did you ever hear the term, Robert, did you ever hear the term the grid? Okay, the grid means to move over or permutate one. The grid is a 4-note increment. For example, if I said 1, E, and the, that's four notes. So the first note, the grid, you move it over within those 4 notes every beat. So the first note would be 1, E, and the. Now we go to 2 E and the. So we're going to move it instead of on the 1 on the E to E and the. And then 3, we move it over 1, so 3 E and the, so it's going to be on the and. 3 E and the, then 4 E and the. 4 E and the. So in tempo, I'm going to play that. Okay? 1 E and the, 2 E and the, 3 E and the, 4 E and the. What I'm going to do, Robert, because you don't have the book, I should have done it early this morning, but I got so occupied with other stuff. After the lesson, I'm going to send you the PDF on this particular ostinato pattern. Okay? So you'll get extra PDFs on that, okay? So you can view it tonight when you come to the lesson. Hey, Jim and Marcio, do you understand the grid? If I'm playing, for example, if I'm playing with my right hand, 16th notes. So I'm going 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Now, the norm when I'm playing something like that, it's 4 on the floor, meaning straight quarter notes. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Now, if I implement the grid with the bass drum against that pattern, against the 16ths, it would be 1, I'll do it nice and slow. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Do we all understand that, guys? Marcio, Jim, Robert, and whoever else is watching? Do we all understand that? All right, well, the pattern I want to work with today is the right hand is going to be playing on the hi-hat. I'm thinking and I'm counting 16th notes. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. So what I'm going to do, my right hand's going to play the first 3 16ths. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Up tempo a little bit. 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 4 E and. Okay, here we go. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. Here we go. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Now, as a warm-up, what I like to do with that, I'm going to play that pattern on the hi-hat over and over and over again. It's part of the ostinato. This time I'm going to play my bass drum on all the 16ths. I'll do that slow. E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Again, a little faster. I look mechanical because I'm trying to break it down so you can envision what I'm doing and understand it. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Robert, do you understand that? Now, what I do, there's one more thing I want to do to that. And I want to put a backbeat on the count of 2. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4. Now I'm going to do it slow with the bass drum doing all 16ths, the right hand doing this, and the snare drum on 2 and 4. Nice and slow. So I have 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and up tempo a little bit. Well, it's not that it will take some practice. Everything takes practice. You know, you just can't learn something and play it like you've been playing it all your life, Jim. It's going to take a lot of work. You have to find your place where you're at mentally to do that, and then from that point, build. You have total control. Without the control, it's not going to go nowhere. So I'm taking it, what I'm doing with that right hand is very slow. I'm showing you the movement. I'm starting here, I'm going 1, E. Now this looks like mechanical, I'm up here. Because I want to push an accent on the count of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, E, and 2, E, and. Now, I don't look like that when I'm playing. But down slow motion, it's 1, E, and 2, E, and 3 E and 4 E and the bass drum is 1 E and 2. You want me to do it slow? 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 the 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Now, if you do it that slow, all right, and you have control, let's say, at a tempo like that, stay there for a while and do this for maybe 5 minutes. You get any kind of tension, any kind of discomfort with the bass drum or your right foot, stop. You don't want to hurt yourself. And if you do this on a constant basis, eventually this is going to happen for you. It flows. You understand that? You understand my premise there was saying do it slow, find out exactly where you're at. Where did Marcio go? Hola, Marcio, you still there? What I'm going to do, I worked out of this book. You don't have to go buy the book. If you want, fine, that's to put to your library. This is called The Funky Primer. And it's really a good book. And it'll explain what I'm explaining to you right now. Well, I'm still doing the same thing, Jim. I'm just every day when I get a chance to practice whatever I have to practice, I practice it. And sometimes I don't practice it for a while because there's so much to practice. Or I'm working on writing out lessons or practicing myself. I've been bad for the last 2 weeks because of my hand. And it's getting better. And I can't get an appointment now until January. It was February, so I moved it up to January. They got to take some tests. And it's something to do in my neck there. I don't know. But it's very uncomfortable at the moment. But anyway, what you want to do now, we talked about the grid in the beginning of the lesson. All right, now, what I want to do is move. I'm going to play that pattern, the symbol pattern. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. And I'm going to play my bass drum on the counts of 1 and 3 only while that's going on. 1 E and 2, 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Now, in addition to that, I'm going to drop my left hand back, excuse me, backbeat of 2 and 4. So I'm going to have 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and up tempo. Okay, and I put the bass drum now on account of the first note of that first grouping of 4, the 16ths, and I moved it to 3. So I went 1 E and 3 E and 4 E and. So now I'm going to move the bass drum now instead of the 1 and 3. I'm going to put it on the E of 1 and the E of 3, nice and slow. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Now, I didn't bring this to your attention, but you notice that right hand going 1 E and. Now that looks very mechanical, which it is because I'm breaking it down. But that gives me position for that right hand when I'm playing to nail the accent. Yeah, it's in the exercise. It's in the book, the Shafee book. Okay? You're playing 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Now on the E. Okay? Now, from the 1 and 3 to the E of 1 and the E of 3. Then we're going to play the and of 1 and the and of 3, nice and slow. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and. Now, notice I didn't bring this out to your attention either. I do not let that bass drum dictate the volume of my hands. It's a separate voice. And in this particular case, It's more or less the, I guess, what's the word I want to use? Come on, words. It's the dominant voice in the exercise. That's better. 1 E and. See, I hit the and. The bass drum exploded, but my right hand did not. Now there's a lot of people go 1 E and. See, because they hit the bass drum and the right hand at the same time, they can't separate it, and it does not sound very musical. So now we did the 1, the E, and the and. Now we're going to go to the da. 1 E and the 2 E and 3 E and the 4 E and 1 E and 3 E and the 4 E and. So now I did all the notes inside of the grid. The 1, the E's, the ands, and the does. Now you understand how that flows. That's the exercise itself. It's a 4 exercises. Well, actually 5 today because I gave you the 16ths with the bass drum constant to develop endurance and develop strength. Now that is very important. You don't push yourself to the max where you're going to hurt yourself. You feel any discomfort, you can pull a muscle. And then it's going to take you out of commission for a little bit. You know, there's drum teachers out there, no pain, no gain. Well, that's bullshit. No pain, no gain. This is not a sport. This is an instrument. Yeah, and you're using your physical body to get out what you want. So if you hurt yourself, you're going to have troubles. Like I'm having troubles now with the left hand. It has nothing to do with my playing. It's something that I did when I was a kid, and my body's reacting to it now. So I have to get it checked out. But anyway, we did the 16ths with the bass drum all the way through. Then we did the 1 and 3, the E of 1, the E of 3, the and of 1, the and of 3, the da of 1, and the da of 3. Now, here's what we're going to do in that one measure. The first time we're going to play the bass drum on the 1. When we get to the 2, we're going to move it to the E. When we get to the 3, we're going to go on to the and. When we go to the 4, we're going to go to the da. So let's break that down. I'm just going to play the right hand and the bass drum. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1. The 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Now you understand how I moved that, gentlemen? Now this takes a little bit more concentration, and that's what you need to do. You know, one time my daughter's taking some lessons with me, and I told her, I said, listen, when you put the drumsticks in your hands, you're playing a tune, or you're playing anything, the whole world goes away except for what you're playing. Her response to me was, well, if the whole world goes away, this doesn't exist. Okay, we all understand that. Little kids are something else, man. All right, so now we got 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3. Let me do it slower for you guys. You understand it, Bob? So we have 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4 E and the 1 and the 2 E and the 3. I got distracted mentally. Who's this? Robert? All right. But you understand the movement? 1 E and. And then we get into the exercises with the book. You know, I get a lot of mail Matt, can you write this out? It's better for me to see it. Well, part of the practicing is to do it mentally while you're practicing. But hey, if it helps, and it does, to visualize it, that's okay. But don't depend on that. So that's what you have the 10 ostinato patterns from. Almost completed volume number 2. And you're going to like that. I did all the rudiments with a breakdown. I did some rudimental solos that I'd made up as I was going. And then it's going to have formulas. It's going to have stick control formulas. It's going to have the jazz patterns and a lot of other different things. Okay? So, any questions so far? You guys are going to come tonight, 7 p.m.? So as soon as I finish this lesson, Bob, I'm going to email you that PDF. Jim, you coming tonight? Because remember now, there's no lesson tomorrow, and there's no lesson Wednesday. The next lesson after tonight will be Thursday, 1 p.m. because of the holiday. Well, that's what it is, Jim. It's a rock beat. Okay. All right. No questions. Anything you're not certain of that we've gone over in the last couple of lessons? You want me to go over? Let me try some of this. Because that's about all I'm going to cover. I don't want to give too much because then you get distracted. Let me get this over here. Stir the soup time. Let's see if this is going to work. Not too much call for brushes, but it's beautiful. It's an art of brushery. Yeah, art of brushing. Gotta have some chops to play this. What is that? What do you want to? I'm sorry, Jim. That's what you want to be able to do. What is that you want to be able to do? I must have missed that. I'm sorry. Hey. What is it you want to be able to do? I missed it. Well, that takes a lot of practice. If you want to be, everybody wants to do this and everybody wants to do that. I want to do a lot of other things too. But man, I'll tell you what. Oh, where is this? Hey, boonga. Yeah, Otterson, I'm sorry too. In my area, we had an accident that took down some lines. I didn't know I was going to be able to do the lesson today. But hey, and then tomorrow there's no lesson, and Wednesday there's no lesson. The next lesson will be tonight, 7 p.m. Okay, and after tonight, we're going to celebrate the New Year's, and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and then we come back Thursday at 1 p.m. Do you get that, Osterson? Now, I was just about to wrap up, and I apologize. I have other things scheduled. It is now 1:30 p.m. in the United States. What time is it at your place there, Otterson? Speaking of the jazz ride, Jim, I'm still waiting on that 20-inch cymbal that I ordered. I guess that, what you call it, because of the holiday and the UPS, the overload of mail, I'm not getting it until maybe after the holidays. We'll see what happens. The 22 that I have is a good cymbal for recording and for playing rock, but I don't want to label myself as one kind of drummer. I'm a drummer. I play music, whatever it might be. But when I do play jazz, that has too much overtone, not enough stick definition. Whereas the 20-inch, very dry ride has a lot of definition, and that's what I'm looking for. That's what, you said, what, 1940? So it was this. That's 20 minutes. That's 20 minutes to 8 this time, I think. Was there a 7-hour difference? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 6-hour difference. So 7 o'clock, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 1 o'clock in the morning. Sorry. And that does happen when I sometimes turn my computer on. Please wait, and it's uploading the updates. Takes about 15, 20 minutes. So if I'm running late, I'm in trouble. So if there's any time, gentlemen, that if the lesson is scheduled for 1 o'clock and I'm not here, wait to at least 1:15. Okay? Because I'm having trouble. Okay. No questions? Now, Otterson, if you come to the lesson tonight, you have the PDF files. It's the, I don't have the cymbal pattern number offhand, but what it is, the cymbal pattern is 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN. And we're going to do this just about the same lesson, but a little bit more, a little better, because now that you gentlemen have a little insight on what we're going to do, it might make it easier for you. So with all that being said, gentlemen, I'm going to have to sign off, and we'll see everybody somebody liked. So what I'm going to do is I'll be back tonight at 7 p.m. I'm going to try to make it as long as possible because it is Tuesday and Wednesday. Okay, gentlemen? Have a good rest of the day, and we'll see everybody tonight.